What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. We're doing something a little different for the first two questions this time. We're lumping them together because they're so closely related, but Javier Harada and Yunners both asked if we think the second season of Star Wars Resistance will cover the time between The Last Jedi and Episode 9, and then Omega Wolf asked if we think we could see Rey, Finn, Rose, or any of the rest of the main cast if that happens. Yes, I think that Resistance Season 2 is going to have to get into the time after The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know how closely they'll stick to what's happening in the movies, but I do think that they'll cover that time period, and I could see someone popping up.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we already have Poe and Captain Phasma, not that she's like one of the main characters, but like we have seen that these big actors, these like on the big screen actors, are willing to come in and do voice work. I absolutely think that like John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran would be up for that. I mean, I'm wondering if it's even like baked into their contract at some point. Like Forrest Whitaker came in and did Saw's line for Rebels. I kind of wonder if they were like, all right, we want you to do this role in Rogue One, but also as part of taking that, you need to come in and read some lines for this show.
Yeah.
And I could see them kind of doing that with these other characters as well.
Yeah.
Where do you think this season is going to end?
How many more episodes do we have?
4, and it might be like 3 and then one of them's long or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna end with Starkiller Base firing on Hosnian Prime.
I think that it's probably going to get beyond that. I think that by the end of this season, it's probably going to be all the way caught up, at least with The Last Jedi. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Leia's distress call goes out.
And at the end of this season?
Yeah, and like, but Kaz can't make it because he's dealing with all this stuff on the Colossus, or the ships are locked down or something. But I kind of feel like they're going to make it clear that, all right, season 1 of Resistance gets us through The Last Jedi, and then season 2 is going to dive into probably close to that same time period and leave plenty of a gap in between that and episode 9 so that we don't know exactly what's about to happen.
I feel like that would be a huge time jump. Like, the next episode looks a little bit fillery. Like, it's about Hype Phazon when he's missing, and I don't know. I don't see it going that far at the end of this season.
I mean, it started the day before The Force Awakens, the previous episode. So the next one is going to have to be like during The Force Awakens. And all that stuff only happens over the course of, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 days. It's not much.
We'll see.
Yeah.
David Andridis wants to know if we think Lucasfilm should focus on Star Wars movies or TV shows.
It's a fitting question with like a billion rumors all of a sudden popping up where like everyone and their mom is getting a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, I don't know where those rumors are coming from, but
yeah, there aren't like any actual sources to those. Everyone always says like new reports suggest. It's like, well, whose reports? What reports are these?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it would have to be TV shows at the moment right now because of Disney Plus, and you know, I feel like Mandalorian season 1 is already wrapped. And then the Cassian show, we don't know much about.
That goes into production like in October, so it's not going to come out until next year.
Yeah, and like, honestly, I'm excited for all the TV show rumors.
Oh, me too. Like, everything that they dropped, I'm like, yeah, I would be interested to see all of these. But I don't want them to go, I guess, too heavy. I would like it if they did 1 or 2 a year, like 2 TV shows or whatever, and if they spread them out weekly instead of dumping them all, then it would be like, okay, we have something every week, live action to look forward to. That would be really nice. And then like at the end of the year, I would still want them to have 1 movie a year. I felt like that was a nice pace. 1 every 6 months was too much for me.
Yeah.
1 every other year, I mean, we'd be able to build up the hype and all, but like, look at how we're handling episode 9 and we're clamoring for anything. So like, I feel like 1 movie a year is a nice pace, and in the meantime we get 1 TV show a week maybe even 2, like when Resistance is going on. So I feel like that's plenty of content.
Yeah, we still don't know, like you said, if they're gonna dump all episodes at once, like a lot of Netflix shows do, or if they're gonna roll them out one at a time, or, you know, a couple at a time. So I think that's going to really affect how eager we are for more content.
Right. If it is a big dump, I'll be like, all right, well, give me a dump every week.
Weekly Star Wars
Weekly
dump.
Star Wars dumps.
That's going to be our next series coming up.
But as for a focus, I don't really want them to focus on either. I think that having both and a good balance between the two would be perfect.
Yeah. I just don't, like, I don't know what other movies they have in mind, so...
It's true. Who knows what they're talking about? I mean, like, we have literally no details other than, like, who's writing or producing these movies. It's like,
yeah,
I'd like to know something.
Yeah.
Come on, Celebration.
I mean, I've said in the past that I like the idea of turning the idea of a Kenobi movie or a bounty hunter movie into more of a show where it's, like, you can use less money and create more content and possibly make it way more interesting if it's spread out over a couple of hour-long episodes.
That is true. I mean, like, not a lack of budget, but lessening the budget means that they can even do riskier things and it won't be the end of the world. Whereas, like, Solo, I mean, they kind of... That's what's, I guess, sparking all these rumors is that, like, Kenobi was going to be a movie and now we're turning it into a TV show, and I still would like to see Ewan on the big screen again. Episode 9, maybe. But if it's a show, like, I'm all for that too, and that almost allows it to be more... I could see it being kind of a True Detective, like, it's slower, methodical.
Mm-hmm.
When you're watching it from the comfort of your couch, it's not... Yeah, I know you love that. That's your dream.
Ding, ding, ding.
When you're on your couch, it's a little easier to, like, take your time. When it's a 2-hour movie, you gotta go, and you gotta go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a Kenobi movie, that would be cool if they took their time with it.
Yeah, and it's, like, the idea of how much content that they should or need to put in episode 9 is also like, well, are Star Wars movies getting to the point where they're gonna need to be 3 hours long to get everything in that you need to finish the storyline? And if so, maybe it's better to start transitioning some of the content into TV shows.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea of, like, let's save the big epic stories for the big screen, and then like I've talked about a bunch of the books, like we have Thrawn or Phasma, and it's like these very personal stories. Turn those into books. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not saying do that now,
into
but like
shows or movies.
Yeah, into shows. Like, take those stories, those personal ones you want to tell, and maybe make them for the small screen. And yeah, save the big, epic, sprawling stories for the big screen.
I would love a Phasma TV show adaptation.
It'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Alden Diaz asks what our favorite maligned scene is from the sequel trilogy between the Rathtars, Borgullet, the Fathiers, and Han getting his name.
I think I wrote that question wrong. It's like the Disney era, I should have said, not the sequel era, but whatever. So we actually put a poll up for our patrons because someone suggested it, and I thought that would be fun. Everyone voted that the one that bothered them the least is the Rathtar escape. I actually thought that the Fathiers bothered me the least. And the reason why is because that it didn't feel jarring to me. Mm-hmm. The Rathtars, that just felt like silly and kind of out of place. Borgullet came out of nowhere, and I was just like, what is this? Han getting his name just made me roll my eyes. It was too on the nose.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't mind the Fathiers at all. I thought they were super cute, first of all. And second of all, I think, like, they were pretty important to that whole scene.
And they, like
all of Canto Bight.
They do matter thematically in the movie. If I were to choose my own, like, I guess, least favorite scene, something to swap the Fathiers out with, I would say the milking the Thalasiren. That to me was the thing that made me go like, what is happening? And that just jarred me out of the experience a little bit.
Yeah.
what I think is interesting is that so many of these are creature related, and it makes me wonder, like, if Return of the Jedi came out today, how would we feel about Jabba the Hutt? Because, like, Lady Proxima in Solo 2 kind of didn't sit well with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember after seeing it for the first time, one of our friends was like, come on, like, this worm person is in charge of this gang. Like, how did they get power? And I was like, I did kind of feel that in the theater, but also Jabba the Hutt is a giant slug. And, like, how did he get power? And I get those criticisms, but I'm also like, Star Wars has always been like this.
Yeah.
And,
like, how did the Hutts get all the power in the first place?
Right. It's like so strange that that's the species that's a crime lord, but I'm just saying that, like, all of these things, they still fit in with old Star Wars, and they always have, like, the big creature thing. And I don't know why all of a sudden it feels like, I don't know, maybe just because I'm 30, that I'm like, well, this is odd, and I kind of like need to get back in touch with my inner child and be like, oh, cool, slug crime lord, that's awesome.
Well, I mean, it definitely helps for me if it's mostly like a puppetry or animatronics.
Yes. And
the Wrath Stars were not that at all. The Siren was a giant puppet.
Borgullet was a puppet, but that was just like this weird thing.
It was a puppet, but then they like CGI'd over it a whole bunch. The Borgullet, for me, not to get into a weird territory, but it was a little bit tentacle.
You've said enough.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was just, really jarring for me. But yeah, the fathers just didn't jar me the way that everything else did, so.
Snickperdoodle wants to know if we ever get burnt out on Star Wars stuff, and how do we deal with it?
I mean, yeah. When you deal with it every single day, there are times where I'm like, I don't really want to read more. New books, that's kind of a different thing. Like, new books, Resistance, anything new is exciting to me, but I mean, I touched on this a week or two ago when people were asking about, where's your Journey Through Legends series? And I'm like, I still plan on doing it, but the next books that I have to read, I'm not a huge fan of. And after spending all day with Star Wars, I don't really want to reread this old book. Right. I'm still going to do it, I promise. But yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we get burnt out.
Yeah.
And
we just watch other things.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I just got through Avatar: The Last Bender for the first time. The Last Airbender. And by the end of it, I was obsessed with that. I really, really dug that story. So, yeah, it's just like, getting out, trying different fandoms, getting into Marvel stuff. I guess that's why I like the Marvel movies so much, is because it's a nice escape. It's something different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I find myself, like, looking on Rotten Tomatoes each week to find out which new movies got released. And I'm like, especially around Oscar season, I try to watch all the Oscar nominated movies. And
such a snob.
I kind of like to throw myself into good films, and especially documentaries and stuff.
Like, no, I think that's great. I mean,
any true crime stuff on Netflix I'm really into, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to watch different movies, and sometimes Molly has to, like, convince me to, like, hey, we're gonna watch Roma on Netflix. And I'm like, oh, that does not sound like my cup of tea. But it's like, you just watch stuff that's outside of your comfort zone. It's like with anything in life, too much of a good thing it always turns into a bad thing. And so if you get burnt out on Star Wars, you just, like, take a step back, do something else, read something else. Yeah. I'm reading Harry Potter again. And we watched all the Harry Potter movies early in the year. Like, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but now I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I finally read all these and see what all the hullabaloo's about.
Hullabaloo. Well, I can't really take a break from Star Wars right now until after Celebration, because I'm studying for the Schmodown.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're gonna get burnt out, and it's all Molly's fault. That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon, where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content, like audio commentaries for the films and for the Clone Wars, which we're currently going through chronologically. And this week's commentary is for Jedi Crash, so you can check that out right now if you want.
On to YouTube questions. Crisp Brap asks if anyone knew what. There's 3 A's.
No, I like
there.
that you went phonetic with it.
Asks if anyone knew the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise outside of Palpatine and Anakin. I gotta say, it feels like something that Palpatine wants to tell everybody. Every party he goes to, someone's like, "Oh, Palpatine's he's telling the story again. Let's go."
That stupid tragedy.
Tell him time for a drink refill.
I do like that idea because then it's like this way of like bragging about himself without actually doing it.
Like,
so he's like, "Did you ever hear the Sith legend?"
Like, yes, you told me last week. Palpatine.
That would be funny if he ran around telling everyone. He's like, because then it's like, "Did you hear what I did? But I didn't really do it. You don't know that I did that." But like, no, I don't think that he actually did that.
I guess not.
I think it's probably just him and Anakin. And it's not like this Sith legend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Palpatine did it.
Yeah.
He's just trying to pretend it's this legend and pretend the Jedi are not telling Anakin everything, which, I mean, that is true. But the Jedi don't even know about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah. It's all part of his romancing of Anakin.
Yeah, I like that. Seduction is what I would go with. But
yeah.
Sure, romance.
Not only, I mean, he bought him tickets to go to the opera.
Took him on a date.
Told
him this dope story.
Yeah. The Bleaker wants to know if we'll see Major Von Reg and Commander Pyre without their helmets on in Star Wars Resistance.
I kind of doubt it.
I don't see why we need to.
But maybe. It could turn into a story thing. Like,
unless there's someone we know. But
it's 50-50 for me. It could go either way. I guess I'm not really expecting it right now. I think they're just like faceless bad guys. But who knows? One of them could go on a callous arc of redemption.
That's what I was about to say. Unless they like swap sides, then it would make sense for us to see them.
They change everything about their uniform except the helmet.
Yeah.
Like, you see this? It's gold. I'm not getting rid of this.
Carbonite Hunter asks how exactly Vader was killed by the Force lightning.
I've always kind of assumed that it was because, his mechanical suit shorted out or something.
Well, hasn't he been Force lightninged a bunch in the comics?
He did one time, and it was like right after he put the suit on, and I just assumed that Palpatine gave him like a little zap, and not like all of his power or whatever, like he probably did in Return of the Jedi. But really, it's just because the story needed Vader to die.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that simple answer of just he gave him like a full boost of Force lightning, and it just shorted out his entire suit. But I mean, we've also seen him survive without the suit on for a little while in the comics, and part of me thinks that, I mean, during his transition back into Anakin, and also just kind of like basically giving up on life, that may have had something to do with it too.
You saying he lost the will to live?
Could be. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like, okay,
Runs in the family, I guess.
His suit got all messed up because of the lightning, and he was kind of Anakin again, so he lost all the anger that was kind of keeping him going all that time. That
actually is an interesting point. I mean, like, Darth Maul survived on anger and hatred alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. You actually might be onto something.
I mean, this is completely, like, theory. This is
sure
definitely not what they intended.
But it does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, just because of all the stuff we've seen in the comics about him in the suit, just makes me think that that particular moment, he was just ready to die.
Yeah. He let go of all the anger and hatred, and let's say that, like Darth Maul, it was helping keep him alive somehow, and he doesn't have that anymore. So yeah, I kind of like that.
Rocket Jeff Matajic wants to know how we feel about Episode 9. I'm ready for it.
I'm incredibly optimistic. I mean, The Force Awakens is still my favorite Disney-era Star Wars film. I don't even really know what about it I love. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it did come down to J.J. Abrams direction and the way that he handled all of the new characters and made me at least fall in love with them very quickly. So I am excited for JJ to come back, and especially with all the criticisms of, oh, The Force Awakens was just like A New Hope. I want to see what he does with a new direction that, like after The Last Jedi, it's like he has to do something new.
Yeah. I mean, right now my only feeling is excitement because we haven't been given anything about the movie at all. No details, no title. But like, I'm thinking back when, after seeing trailers for previous Star Wars movies, I always start out kind of optimistically cautious.
That's like that. We should make a shirt that says that.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Yeah. I'm optimistically cautious about how they're going to tie everything together and wrap up the story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just frankly excited to see what JJ does again. I hope he sticks around in Star Wars. I really like what he did, so...
Yeah. Vikram Tapadia asks what our favorite and least favorite moments are in each trilogy.
All right, let's start original trilogy. I would say that my favorite is just the Battle of Endor as a whole. Return of the Jedi is not my favorite original trilogy movie, but I think that the Battle of Endor is amazing. It's got a great space battle, a great ground battle, and a great lightsaber fight with Vader's redemption. And that's like, I don't know, it's the defining moment of the original trilogy for me. So yeah, I have to go the entirety of the Battle of Endor.
Yeah. I kind of agreed on most of his answers, so I tried to pick different ones. So I'm going to say my favorite is Leia killing Jabba.
All right.
Just
2 Return of the Jedi answers. I wasn't expecting that.
Actually, both mine might actually be from that movie.
Oh, mine is too.
Yeah.
my least favorite, and I tried really hard to think of a non-special edition thing, and I just couldn't think of something that really bugged me about the original trilogy without the special edition. So, well, I know what your Return of the Jedi answer is, so I was going to make mine a tie. I'll just say that mine was Hello Greedo. Hello Greedo. Just normal Greedo shooting at all. Hello Greedo did nothing wrong. I have no problem with him.
Do you think you know what mine is?
The musical number in Return of the Jedi?
Well, I was going to say that because I thought that was what you were going to say, and we both kind of agreed on that. But then I thought of another one, and it's the death of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
He goes out like a punk.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, we both also mentioned the musical number, Jedi Rocks. Yeah. Why add that?
Yeah.
All right, anyway, let's go on to the prequel trilogy. My favorite moment is the Duel of Fates.
I think my favorite moment in the prequel trilogy is Anakin, all of Anakin's stuff on Mustafar. Like, he finally gets to act, first of all, which is exciting. And I like to see his transition, like, into really embracing Vader.
I did consider the, what do they call it? The Battle of the Heroes, the Obi-Wan versus Vader duel.
I mean, the duel in its entirety is like 30 minutes long. So I wouldn't say the entire duel, but like just all of Anakin's lines and his conversation with Obi-Wan. And
that's a great scene, even before Obi-Wan gets there, when he's like killing the Separatists while Sidious is taking over the Senate. Mm-hmm. My least favorite would be 3PO in Attack of the Clones, when he just, from the moment he steps on Geonosis, everything that happens to him is so goofy. And then he riffs off like 3 puns in a row. And it just, people complain about humor in Star Wars now.
Yeah.
Those jokes just do not land for me at all. It's too much.
It is a lot. He's like, he's getting dragged at one point, and he says, "This is a drag."
I'm quite beside myself. I can't. What's your least favorite moment?
I think mine would be, I hate to bring Padme into this because I wished there had been more good Padme scenes, but I think the fireplace scene with Padme and Anakin talking comes off super weird. Like, he comes off really whiny and kind of stalkery, and he's like, I don't know, just the way that their lines are, it seems as if Padme's like, I don't want anything to do with you, and he's like, I can't live without you, and it's just
It's a lot.
Creepy.
It's a lot.
And I know it's just like how it was written is weird. So yeah, that is an uncomfortable scene for me to watch.
And okay, for the sequel / we'll just call it Disney era movies, mine's a tough one. I want to either go with the Praetorian Guard fight or just Finn and Poe escaping the Star Destroyer in The Force Awakens. I love that scene. It always puts a smile on my face. And that's the moment in The Force Awakens when I was in the theater and I was like, they did it. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Mine would be, if we're going to include the spin-offs, I gotta go Vader in Rogue One.
Sure. That's
mass killing spree.
I'm sure that's a highly rated moment for any Star Wars fan.
But if we're not including that, I would say Luke on Crate.
All right.
Just that whole scene.
And then least favorite, I already mentioned it today, but the Thalassiren. It came out of nowhere for me. I was a little on edge the first 45 minutes of The Last Jedi, talking about humor again. Not all those jokes landed for me. Everything felt like it went just a little too long. Like the prank call to Hux, I was like, this is fun. And then it went on for 10 extra seconds and I was like, okay. And the Thalassiren, I get what it represents, and it's this is Luke going about his day, and you want him to do something mystical, but he's just milking this cow thing. And I get it, but it just felt like it was a little too much, and I was like, oh, I hope the whole movie isn't like this. So that was just an uneasy moment for me in The Last Jedi.
Mine is also from The Last Jedi. It's funny that our favorite and least favorites are from The Last Jedi, but...
I've said it before, a movie of high highs and low lows for me.
Yeah. The Finn and Rose kiss
also feels like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan of the idea of them having a relationship, and that kiss came out of nowhere, and it left me feeling awkward in the theater, ooh, what?
I agree. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel,
and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.